Good evening, all my great friends out there. What a wonderful evening. In case you missed it, Gil just had a great talk about insects and insect issues in a post apocalyptic world. I think that's going to be a bigger problem than a lot of us give credit to it. So I was very, very interested in that one. Let's see who else here. Sue Me. First one, thank you. Shenanigans, number two. Great to see you. Oh, what great news, Shenanigans. So remember, Shenanigans right now is on the East Coast, and her home was in the area of the fire line, fire. I think that's San Bernardino or San Bernardino County in California. And so they were evacuating her township, if you will, and because it was in direct line with the fire, and we were very afraid that it was going to get consumed. So, gosh, that's great news. Wow, yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good answer to prayer. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. We are so happy that things worked out and that you are safe. And well, we know you're safe. You're on the opposite end of the country. Thank God your house is safe. But praise the Lord. That's fantastic. So happy to hear that. Every once in a while, good stuff just happens. And isn't that a blessing? Isn't that wonderful? Shady Hill Homestead, good evening. Welcome. Utah Mike, good evening. Good to see you too. Let me see here. Gray Man Prepping Gil, another great show tonight, Gil. So if you get a chance, go back and watch that. I will tell you, I am sorely lacking in insect killer and insect abatement. What do you call it? The lotions and stuff you put on your body. I have a whole bunch of citronella candles, but I think we're going to be invaded by insects when whatever happens. Butch Graves, good evening. Good to see you, my friend. I think I said Phaeoxerus, but it's good. Always good to see you as well. Tuck by V, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Diana too. Kaylin Strain. Let me see here. Oh gosh, wow! Look at this, and everybody's so active in chat too. Thank you, Holly Ivans, Laura Mannion. Wow. There you go. Topical bug deterrent. Thank you, Sumi. Gosh, you guys are so helpful. Thank you so much. A couple real quick notes. There still don't know what happened. Evidently, Hezbollah was using pagers and for communications amongst themselves in southern Lebanon. And today, all of a sudden, still don't know how or why or anything else, 1,200 of them blew up. Now, I don't say this against, for, or anything else. All I'm saying is, if they can do that to Hezbollah's pagers, what does that say about these? Huh? So, there's so Woshun, Baofeng, BTEC, who else? Radiodity, they're all made in China. The only radio, right, that I'm aware of that's made other than in China is the Yaesu, and that's made in Japan. So, the question becomes one of how many of these have kill switches inside of them that were made in Japan, made in China. So, be very, very cautious of that. Be very aware of that. I was told one of the ways you can identify when a person was born is how they hold their cell phone. So we older people who had the handset hand phones, we have that habit of when we talk on the phone, we hold it like this. The younger generation, of course, holds it like this. Those of us who hold it like this are, our brains are being corrupted by the radio signals and everything else. And for sure, that's for sure. But if this has that same kill switch in it that and this is made in China as well. This is an Apple. But anyhow, if these have the same kill switches, what a name, huh? That the pagers had in southern southern Lebanon, then wow. So Sumi, the question, they don't know. They don't know whether they had trace amounts of explosives in them, or if there was something that they could do electrostatically that would cause the lithium ion batteries to explode. And that's why they said, they didn't say 1,200 people killed, they said 1,200 people injured. And I think that's probably what that was something to do with causing the lithium ion batteries to explode. And they catch fire and explode, just like a very small explosive charge. So it's something else. Oh, wow. So Shenanigans says that she's heard that the Mossad apparently intercepted them from Taiwan, doctored them up before they got in the hands of the Hezbollah. Wow. That's the truth, Utah Mike. That I've seen couples, I guess they were on a date, sitting across from each other at the table, and it appeared that they were texting each other. I don't know. They could have been texting other people. I assumed that they were texting each other, but they sure weren't communicating verbally. Whereas, there are those of us who prefer verbal, and then the people just 10 years younger than I am want to text all the time. And I get my fat thumb when I text, or my fat finger, whichever the case might be. I put all kinds of extra B's and C's in there when I'm trying to spacebar, because my thumb rolls over onto the B and the C, and then I get extra characters in there. So if any of you have texted with me, you'll notice that there's spurious B's and C's in the conversation that don't belong there. Well, the reason is because of my fingers. So I apologize for that ahead. So Calvin Stevens, good evening. Good to see you. I believe that you'll find it was a virus that was able to make the batteries within the pagers explode, saying they had just upgraded all the batteries in the pagers. That's a very high likelihood. We don't know. This is going to be one of those great mysteries of the 21st century. Same with me. I haven't had a pager. I think the last time I had a pager was when I was quality director at the hospital, and that was back in 1994. I think it was the last time I had a pager issued to me. But the hospitals really liked pagers back in the 90s. KP Ethan, good evening. I hope you got my email address. I haven't checked my email in the last day or so. I've been down and out. I took a fall Friday, so I've been kind of resting. We have a senior trip tomorrow. We're going to be walking around some painted churches, and so I wanted to make sure that I had maximum rest so that I can endure it tomorrow. Couldn't get our money back canceling that quick, so we're going to be up there watching them. So Gil says Elecraft ham radios are made in South Korea. Are those UHF, VHF handy talkies, Gil, or are they shortwave? S2 Underground's update was pretty convincing about explosives, not batteries. Oh, wow. Okay. Great. It's going to be a great mystery. We will see. Thank you, Shenanigans. If I can get as lucky or as graced as you have been, as far as lucking out with things going well for you, then I will be truly blessed. Thank you. I forgot about ICOM, but ICOM is primarily. I don't know if I've seen them in handy talkies. I've seen them in desktop, the shortwave, but I don't think I've seen them in handy talkies. But that doesn't mean that they don't have them. I haven't seen them. Okay, so tonight. Okay, so Gil says that the Elecraft is 2 meter and 10 meter. So remember the rule. You take 300 and divide it by the meters, the wavelength. So 300 divided by 2 is 150, which is the VHF area for the handy talkies for ham, and then 10 meter. So you take 300 divided by 10, and it's 30. So that's going to be basically the upper end of the area for CB radios. We do have a channel, an FM channel down in the 10 meter band for ham. Oh, wow. And Gil says he has a couple ICOM handhelds. You'll have to send me some information on that, Gil. I'd be interested in that. I have a Yaesu YA6, and I have my Baofeng UV5R, and then I have a UV15 and a UV9. And then what's my radiodity? Radiodity RTU 155, I think is what it is. And then, of course, I've got so many different forms of GMRS. This is a Baofeng UV15 GMRS. And then I have Motorola GMRS, and I have Midland GMRS. And, but it seems as if, and I don't know where, I think Motorola still makes in China too. I'm not 100% sure. But anyhow, let me see. Get into the contents tonight. So we're on, remember this book doesn't have chapters, so we're just going discussion to discussion. So I'm basically starting on tonight, page 74, entertainment during boring times. So, we're not going to have the video games. My grandson is addicted to video games. He and I try to play chess, but he wants to play me instead of a chessboard in front of us. He wants to play me internet. What do you call it? Cell phone games. So kids nowadays, he's 6. So kids nowadays are totally addicted to the cell phone and iPad and all those other kinds of games, more so than actual board games. So I think that's going to take a little bit of an adjustment should anything happen, and we lose electricity. Of course, lose the Wi-Fi and the internet. First, let me put a caveat, because I think this is very important. I look back at living on the farm with my aunts and uncles back when I was in my early teens and preteens, and I think back and I think, gosh, what did we do for entertainment? Well, when I stayed with my grandmother didn't have running water, didn't have sewage. She had an outhouse. She had a hand pump, water pump. And then we played parcheesi and cards in her living room under an old oil lamp. So that's kind of what we did. Was in the evenings we would play cards primarily. I was fairly young, so it was primarily war or something like that, something easy for kids. We played an awful lot of parcheesi. We played an awful lot of checkers. We played a lot of. She didn't play chess. But what else? Let me see. Oh, Candyland. We played Candyland, and so I think it's going to be primarily for the youth and for the old farts, okay? Because I think that the majority of people, when I look back at that time, when I left my grandmother's and went over to my Aunt Zoe's, that was a working farm, and she had 7 kids, and the 7 kids plus me and my sister, 9 of us. We would work our tails off. The 7 of them, I would imagine during the fall and spring and winter, would work their tails off. But there was always cattle to move from one pasture to the next. There, milking to be done, cooking, catching, firewood to be cut and stored, fields to be cultivated. And I mean, there was you basically worked from sun up to sundown living on a farm. I think we're going to be going back to that same type of a society where the vast majority of us who are of that working age, let's call it that, of working age, you're going to be working so hard that you're not going to have that much entertainment time in the evening. Now, my group, oh gosh, and good news, we got 2 new members to our group today. I've known both of them for, 10, 12 years. So I trust them. I think they're going to work out fine. One's a neighbor 2 doors down this way, she and her daughter. And I had a great conversation with them today. Really happy with that. Then I talked to Mark this morning. He's a plumber. And so he and his wife will be coming here if anything happens. And so I've got to get that letter out to them, explaining them what I want them to do and some of my expectations and everything else. But, the more the merrier, because we're going to need guards. I think I told you, I went to a Sam's today. So this is on sale, $4 off at Sam's. So I picked that up and I picked up one of these, and, I picked up all kinds of stuff. At Sam's today. That'll be in the Saturday Prepper Pantry Hall. But I'm kind of focusing right now on drinks. So I picked up a big thing of Swiss Miss, 2 boxes of Members Mark French roast K-cups. So that's 200 cups of coffee right there. Just trying to get loaded up on that stuff. But anyhow, so great things. 2 new members to our group. And then I picked up some more drinks. And so what a great day. Let me get back, because you guys are doing some great exchanges and conversation about great games to have. I brought one in, one of my favorites. I don't know how many of you know this, but that's a cribbage board. Not Quibbage, not from that show, but cribbage, Cribbage. So let me see. I thought I saw some good comments in here. Let me just. Okay, so 2 crossword puzzle books, absolutely. Now, anytime you can pick up anything like puzzles or word searches or anything like that, Sudoku, those kinds of books on sale at a secondhand bookstore or at a Dollar General or something like that, pick those up. I just love those. I've got a whole tub full of books like that stashed out in the garage, ready to go. Theoxera says Bible, books, paper, electronic, board games, cards, cribbage board. Oh, look at that. Yeah. There's another cribbage guy. Yeah, absolutely. Let me see what else. I'm not going to do my comments until after I see what yours are. My internet was down for 2 days. So wonderful. Yahtzee, absolutely. Farkle, another great one. Decks of cards, checkers, chess, Parcheesi, absolutely. Pickup sticks, fantastic for the younger ones. Puzzles, yeah. Just simple, sit around and put the puzzle on, 100 piece, 500 piece, 1,000 piece puzzles. Absolutely. Just make sure you have the space to do that, because my experience is you don't finish it in one sitting. Most of the time, if you have the, 500, 250, 500 piece or 1,000 piece, it's going to take a couple sittings. So you're going to test the patience of the young ones. But here, like this is the only table other than the coffee table in the living room. I guess we could use that, but it's glass top, so I'm afraid of having children near it. But anyhow, this would probably become my headquarters for running the operation of the neighborhood. I'm not so sure that we would use this for game boards or anything like that, but we could. So maybe what we need to do is also consider: do we need additional card tables or 6-foot tables or whatever added to our inventory so we can accommodate these? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. 6-game travel set, great idea. Operation, I remember that. Doesn't that require a battery? That was a fun game. Yeah, beep. And the red nose on the doctor. Snakes and ladders, good game. Fictional books for entertainment, absolutely. I'm trying to make sure that I have the world's greatest fiction. So I just bought a copy of Moby Dick. I've got a lot of things. I'm trying to collect everything that Robert A. Heinlein wrote. God, he was a great writer. The Stranger in a Strange Land is probably one of the best books ever written. Starship Troopers is a fantastic book. Anything he wrote, I just want to have. But I also want to have all of the great classics as far as fiction. I also want to have some of the great philosophers, Plato, Socrates, and things like that. I think that we need to have some knowledge books that are going to be available too. It would be great to have an old set of encyclopedia because we won't have Wikipedia available to us. So, having that available to people. I think it was Theoxerus mentioned the Bible and things like that. So I'm trying to get everything out of this series. So right now I'm working on the Gospel of John. I also just ordered and received my copy of the, what's the name of the Bible? It's a direct translation from Greek, and it's the Gospels plus the book of Acts. Because remember, the book of Acts was actually on the same scroll with Luke, and they just cut it off at basically the crucifixion. So Luke ends at the crucifixion, and Acts, which is a continuation of the same book, begins basically with the resurrection. And so but that continues on with the life of the apostles after the resurrection. And so they take the book of Luke when they canonized the Bible in 425 AD, and they separated that. So yeah, so having it. So anyhow, I just got that book in. Wow. I got in my Old Testament book, which is the converting over from the Old Testament and then showing how it's fulfilled in the New. So I have all kinds of Bible study stuff. I am full of Bible study stuff. As a matter of fact, one of the things I put in my newsletter to my group members is you can anticipate working 12 hours a day in a post-apocalyptic world, whether it be collecting water, collecting firewood, cooking, guard duty, something. On Sundays, we will keep the Lord's Day holy. And so there won't be any other than taking care of tending animals. So if we get any kind of livestock or anything like that, then we'll have to tend those. For example, dairy cattle, you have to milk them every day. Chickens, you have to feed them. So there's going to be certain things you have to do. You just can't get by with it. Now, the way that prohibition is written is you don't do work on Sunday or on the Sabbath. And so if, for example, gardening is a release for you, if it is a hobby, if it's something you find pleasure and enjoyment in, and you find a little bit of escape from the world's problems, then that's okay. You can do that. That's something that you're doing for your own self-benefit. It's not something you're doing for the sake of others in the sense of keeping society going or anything like that. It's your day break away from that. So however you choose to do that's best for you, that's allowed. So I'm going to allow it. Uno, a deck of playing cards. Oh, wow, what a great idea. A sack of marbles. And so that can be so many different things with the marbles. Absolutely. I want to get one of those, what's it called? Cornhole games. It's the little bean bags and the boards with the hole in it. So it's kind of like horseshoes. So you can play those in the backyard. So yeah, I kind of agree with that. Bananagram's word game. Oh, no board. Wow. Okay. And I'm not familiar with that, but thank you for that. Let me see. Yeah. So coloring and things like that for the little ones. Absolutely. Make sure I read that right, but good to have things to entertain the little ones too, while the older folks are working. Absolutely. And so maybe some of those are supervised and maybe some of those are just letting them be creative in and of themselves. Okay, growing up for After Dark, we did leather crafting, carving, something productive. The only game that we played was Monopoly, and boy, that can take forever, can it? I'll tell you a story. When I was first married, my pay as a private first class in the Army was $123.50 a month. My rent for an efficiency apartment, and we shared the bathroom with 3 other apartments. So 4 apartments shared 1 bathroom, bathtub, bath, toilet, the whole bit. And so that my rent was $105. So I had basically $18 a month for food. So we were on food stamps, on active duty and on food stamps in California. And so we got so poor one time that my parents had given us a Monopoly board for a wedding present. And I thought that was one of the stupidest things I'd ever seen in my life. And then we were really, really bored one day. And so we had this little bitty black and white TV. And don't know why we didn't watch TV. We just decided to get out the Monopoly board. And inside the Monopoly board, in the $1 thing, there was a $1 bill. And the 5 had a 5, and the 10 had a 10, and the 20 had a 20. That was 1/3 of a month's income that my parents had put inside this Monopoly board, in the money trays. And so that was great. We were able to go get some food. We walked down to the beach. We were in Monterey, California. It was just phenomenal. So yeah, so Monopoly kind of has a good memory for me. Yeah. Absolutely. You are so right, Kaylin. Great additions, Vivian, crayons, colored pencils, sharpeners, coloring books. print for free. Absolutely. So when I go to my allergy clinic to get shots, they have a stack of different coloring printed. They just printed them on the computer, and they're just lines. And that's to keep the kids kind of productive while they're sitting there waiting for their allergy shots. So I will pick up a couple of those for my grandkids when I go. And so, yeah, we've got a whole book of those as well. Basic math pages. Yes. So what we can do is the basic math pages, the spelling pages, history pages, all those kinds of things. Why not make fun learning so we can have learning fun? As a matter of fact, shenanigans, one of the things I learned with PTSD is that I have an adult coloring system. And so that's these markers. And I don't have them here. They're in the other room. But I have like 124 different color markers. And so they have these doodle graphs, just different things you can sit and doodle with. And so when I get to a funky state, that's what I do is I go color. Let me see. So Vivian says, yes, middle school science. Great. Thank you. Legos. Yes, be creative with that. Absolutely. Whistling wood spoons or whittling. I'm sure it says wood spoons and bowls and plates. So yeah, I have a whole bunch of whittling stuff as well. I kind of gave up on it because I'm one of those that when I start something, I want to finish it. Like now, I don't have the patience. And whittling, I could probably show you. Let me see, just a second. Anyhow, I bought the whittling wood where you can whittle, and I was going to make a chain. It's still back on the back porch. I quit smoking, so I don't go out there anymore to whittle and smoke. And so, that's the way it is. Cards, pinochle, absolutely. Great one. Dominoes, another great one. Fantastic. Great idea. Whittling, marbles. Oh, wow. I showed you my tool that makes dowels, but having a lathe would be fantastic, especially if you had a treadle lathe, one that doesn't need electricity. That would be phenomenal. I wonder if there's a way you could adapt a Singer sewing machine because, you've got that spindle that turns and that operates the needle as it goes down when you're on the treadle. So I wonder if there's a way you could adapt either the belt that connects to the spindle or attach something to the spindle and then turn that into a lathe. Somebody out there is smart enough to figure that out and do it for me. So yes, operation needs batteries. Okay, great. Hook, crochet, knitting needles. Great ideas. You guys are fantastic. Tabletop role-playing games. Yes. Yeah, I think I probably need to have an extra serving table. You're absolutely right, Sumi. I think that would be a great idea. I'll have to put that in my budget and add it to some fiction books I have been abandoned. I have where abandoned books are left behind. Oh, wow. Send me all you want. Although don't tell Helen. She wants me to get rid of a couple of boxes of books out. She says that our goal is once it gets down below 90 degrees, we're going to go out to the garage and get rid of 3 boxes a weekend. An entire encyclopedia, yeah. And so I've got 3 years worth of language books. I've got basic Russian, intermediate Russian, and basic Indonesian out in the garage. So, 3 years of my life learning those languages. And so it would be nice if I could teach that. Well, and I've got my Greek books, and I've got my Hebrew books, and I've got my Latin books. Although 2 of those, the Koine Greek and the Latin, are dead languages. Hebrew is ancient Hebrew. There's a little bit of transfer over to modern Hebrew. Spanish. Yeah, so learning foreign languages, that would be a great thing to do as well. Let me see, where are we time-wise? I want to make sure we get both of these topics in tonight. Look at that. Caitlin's right there. She said it before I did. So books in Spanish. So gardening is a release. See, there's those people that sometimes some of these things or how they get pleasure out of that day off. And so the only thing that we'll probably be doing is taking care of the animals, doing what people want to do for entertainment and to get away from the drudgery of working 6, 12-hour days a week, and guard duty. So that's probably, and maybe cooking and serving. That's going to be about it. Musical instruments, fantastic. I have my, gosh, from when I was in the 4th grade, I had my 120 bass accordion out in the garage. I just had the bellows replaced, so it's still perfectly functional. So, we could learn how to play the accordion out in the garage. I gave away my trombone. Last year, one of the people I was a sponsor for in the Order of Christian Initiation for Adults, was a high school band teacher in a Title I school. So a lot of the kids can't afford their own instruments and can't afford to rent them. So I gave him my high school con B-flat slide trombone and said, I'm sure you can give this to the appropriate person so that they can. And I think what he did was he just loaned it to them while they're in high school so that they could play. And then it'll continue to be handed down to other people in high school. Water pong, that's great. Life, yeah, life's a great one. Don't forget, we got to do a Twister. What a great one, Shenanigans. We got to be age concerned here as well. For younger kids that don't have the attention span, and then for older people who want the intensity of some of the things. A horseshoe ring toss set, great idea. Washers. I went to one of the hardware stores and McCoy's. I went to McCoy's hardware stores, and they have the washers for washer toss. I probably need to go pick those up, but they were almost like $2 a washer. Let me see. I'm just going to go fast here. Painting, watercoloring, things like that. Holly's done a lot of math, and I would love to play the ukulele. I'm thinking about buying a balalaika. So a balalaika is the 3-string Russian version of the ukulele. The triangular bowl and everything else. There's a group of 4 rural Russian women, and they sing a lot of Russian folk songs. And I try to, they usually put out one a day. And so I usually listen to them. They're called Belia Zlata. And so Belia is white and Zlata is gold. And so, they call themselves white gold, and they do Russian folk music on a daily basis. And gosh, it's just great. Keep my language up that way. Drawing, absolutely. Storytelling, yes, absolutely. According polka party. I'm not Polish. But, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to have the mic uncovered. I am so sorry. The washers are probably about that big around. Sax, flute, clarinet, trumpet. Make sure you have plenty of extra reeds, except for the trumpet. I did find on a bookshelf, I can't find my bugle, but I did find my mouthpiece for my bugle. That's kind of strange, a lot of quiet things. Fiaxer says a lot of quiet things for entertainment. Yeah. Oh, Battleship. Here he says manuals for BattleTech, and I saw that and I thought, well, Battleship. Come on, show here. Where are you showing? There we go. There it is. More than 40 manuals for BattleTech Mech Warrior, role-playing games. Oh wow. That was one of my favorite, and it's not all the same author. There are like 14 different authors who wrote in that series. But when I was working the counterterrorist stuff for the Seoul Olympics in 1988, I stayed at the CIA headquarters, which was in Changhawan. And then on the weekends, we would drive to Osan Air Base, and I would get books from Stars and Stripes, and we'd stay in the officers' quarters, bachelor officer quarters, kind of like a hotel. And I would eat American food for a couple of hamburgers and things like that for 4 or 5 meals before we went back to Changhawan, where we ate Korean all the time. And but I bought every BattleTech Mech Warrior book that had come out, and love Phelan, so one of my favorite characters. I think I'm saying that right. If I remember that from 1988, a long time ago. Let me see. Okay. I think that pretty much covers the idea of entertainment. Let's go on to the 7 things that he says about final thoughts on survival concerns. And these are things you need to take into serious consideration and make plans for and start working on them now. So number 1, physical fitness and health problems. If you're not in shape, get in shape. Look, I am in poor physical condition. I've got spinal stenosis. I've got both feet have atrophy. I have 25% of my lungs have been destroyed, either from smoking or from community-acquired MRSA pneumonia, high blood pressure. But you know what? I exercise an hour a day, and you got to do it. You got to keep fit and trim. Now, I will say I'm getting pudgy around the belly. Okay, and my pecs have gone from good muscle mass to fat, but you got to work on your endurance, work on your strength. Remember that the better condition your body is in, the better condition you're going to be to accept some of the mental strain that's going to be placed upon you. Eat well. Get a good diet. Don't eat junk food all the time like I do. I've given up sodas. Remember, another big thing that can really get you down is your teeth. Take good care of your teeth. Make sure you have plenty of toothpaste and floss and everything for after the apocalypse. Closely related to that is sanitation and hygiene. That's the one that has me scared to death, is that my neighbors aren't going to take sanitation seriously right now and aren't planning for what they're going to how they're going to dispose of some of their fecal matter and things like that, and that's going to cause some problems, health problems. So make sure you start thinking now. How am I going to shower? How am I going to wash my hands? How am I going to wash my cook pots, cookware, eating ware? How are you going to do those sanitary things? How are you going to brush your teeth on a daily basis? How are you going to clean yourself after going to the bathroom? All those become critical questions you've got to get answers to before it happens. So start thinking about number 2, sanitation and hygiene. Number 3, how are you going to cook food? So this has a myriad of little tentacles that come off of it. Number 1, how are you going to cook it as far as what kind of utensils? Most of us have in-house utensils that don't have the durability to be used outdoors. Okay. So now that we need to get some good outdoor cookware, a Dutch oven stove. Lodge makes the best that there is. You can't go wrong with cast iron. If you want to go 100% cast iron, I am all for that, because I think that would be an extremely wise decision. Very good dissipation of heat or distribution of heat. Just really a great piece of equipment to have. Make sure you have maybe a good pot, a soup pot or something like that. But so having the right equipment and utensils is going to be critical. Number 2 is having the right components to cook in a post-apocalyptic world when we aren't going to have all the microwavable, ovenable, convenience foods that we have now. So, make sure you have some good cookbooks. Make sure you have some good components to put into those those things. Then number 3 is make sure you have the proper fuel. So every time I go to Sam's, I pick up another 4-pack of these, and I've got this little flammable shed out in the backyard. This is going to be 12 hours worth of butane for my little 1-burner stove so that I can cook. But start thinking about that. Start thinking about the fact that if you're going to use wood, that you're going to have to cure it for about 6 months before you can use it. Think about the fact that how much charcoal are you going to use, even for a Dutch oven. So if you want a 350-degree Dutch oven for half an hour, that's 12 briquettes on top and 12 briquettes on the bottom. So that's 24 briquettes just for a half hour. What if the recipe says cook it longer? So start thinking about, how many charcoal briquettes am I going to need? I've got 2, I think they're 35-gallon trash cans out in the backyard. Both of them have a contractor liner on the inside, and then I've dumped probably 80 pounds of charcoal into each one, maybe 100 pounds. I've got another 4 bags of charcoal over here in my flammable shed. So I've probably got, I'm going to say, I've probably only got 12 to 15 bags of charcoal, the big 20-pound bags. And I know that's not going to last me, So start thinking about, what are you going to do as far as fuel to cook? You got to have that in your plan. Then we've talked about water quite a bit, and he says, what about water? And then he talks about the nonsense of having a big fire in order to warm water. So, start thinking about fuel efficiency in how you warm water. So, one of the things you don't want to do, for example, might be to cook a big raging fire to get some water warm to pour into a bucket so you can use my battery operated shower, right? What may be better is to get one of those solar showers. And then Sue Me was kind enough to tell me that get some pulleys, and you can fill that up with water, use the pulley system, pull it up, let it sit in the sun for a while, get it solar warm, and then you can take a warm shower that way, instead of using some of your fuel that's going to be critical for cooking your food. So start thinking about, how am I going to do my sanitation and my cooking at the same time, using the same fire, the same heat source? How do I do that as efficiently and effectively as possible? So let me kind of take a break here and go back. I have a marker, and I'm scrolling with my infamous mouse. So bear with me in case anything happens. Let me see. My sons and brother play guitars and banjo. That I am so jealous. So Gray Man Prepping has written some novels, and he's working on some more. Music's going to be important, Little Lone Prepper. Yes. So I think, if you have small DVD players or anything like that you have that you can plug into a solar system with speakers, and you can have some music or entertainment that way, that would be phenomenal. One of my sisters has a Trivial. We just gave away all 4 of our Trivial Pursuit games. We gave them to the carrying place, our county. What do they call it? Thrift store, so that they could sell those. We donated them, and they can sell those and make money for themselves. Yeah, but my wife refused to play with me because I always win. Let me see. Sometimes I long for a time when things would just go back to simpler times. Absolutely. I think they're going to be totally honest with you. Absolutely. Some sturdy wash tubs would be phenomenal. I've got those plastic ones, and I did a video, and I have a black one, a red one, and a white one. I just put them out for the purpose of putting them out. And somebody said, why did you put them in that order? Because you're going to have dirty water and you won't be able to see it. And that wasn't my intent. My intent was just to show you I have 3 tubs. So yeah, if you want to get all 3 white, that's great. Then you can see the dirty water. Waders would be fantastic, and they're also great for when it's really muddy outside. Holly Ivans loves only cast iron. Yes, and so let me tell you, Gil's got a good point here. There is, and I'm sure you have it in your neighborhood, I belong to something called estatesales.com. And so I put in a 25-mile radius of where I live, and it gives me every week all the estate sales that are happening within a 25-mile radius. You'd be surprised what you can find at those things. So that's really great. Well, and so Holly, exactly. And here's my concern. My concern is that if I have fuel or ammunition in excess of what the insurance company will never tell you what it is, but if it's in excess of what they consider standard or appropriate, and your house burns down, even if it's not from that cause, but that adds to it, they can deny an insurance claim because you have a quantity that is detrimental to the safety of the home. So make sure you have an area outside where you can store that kinds of stuff so that if it does catch on fire, it doesn't affect your house. Okay. And that way you're covered with your insurance. So my big concern is until SHTF, it's outside. After SHTF, when I'm not worried about insurance companies or anything else, I'll probably bring it inside where I can have greater control over it. Yes, enamel coated Dutch oven. I have both. I have one, a big red one, that does not have the lip to catch the charcoal on the lid, and so that's what we use inside for baking bread, especially. Yeah, and exactly, you're exactly right. One of my bags of charcoal was put out by the dumpster. I brought it in. If I sit open in case it was damp, I put a large plastic bag to keep it dry. Yes, absolutely, 2/3 full. 30-liter camp shower. So 30 liters divided by 4 is, well, actually it's 4.25, but 30 divided by 4, it's about 8 gallons. Wow, that's a lot of water. That's 64 pounds worth of water. I know I couldn't lift that up to get it up there. Yes, Laura Mannion, and that's one of my next goals. I was going to buy one until I saw the price, and I said, you know what? I know that there are YouTube videos on how to take a cardboard box and aluminum foil and build your own sun oven. That's what I've got to do. You're very intelligent. You're very wise there. Oh, shenanigans. Okay. Waterproof playing cards. We just had the regular ones in the Army. And hello, Teresa. Good evening. Welcome. Ron Hubbard, owner of Atlas Survival Shelters, had his office building get hit with arson twice. He had ammo in it. Yep. He's just right up the road. He gave us the Texas Preparedness Group. He gave us a tour of Atlas Survival Shelters. That was a great tour. Great guy. A power company was surveying the lines a couple weeks back with a drone. I made sure that the operator saw I was watching. He stayed next to the lines, and I saw my pew-pew if it stayed. There is a special net round, expensive as all get out. It's like $25 a round, but you can get it in 3-inch, 12 gauge. But basically what it is you've got a core, and then it's got maybe a half dozen lines that come out that are maybe 12 inches long when they fully extend with weights. So that basically what you're doing is kind of like a cast net. And so when you shoot it, it becomes a star with all these wires coming out from it. And it's an anti-drone round for 12 gauge shotguns. So you might want to check into that too if you're concerned about being observed by a drone. Okay. So we got what about heating water, keeping warm? We got now's the time to think about that. You may even be too late. I have the Vesta Instafire. I have a Mr. Buddy butane. We have the Uco candles. I don't know the overall worth of the clay pot terracotta heating system. I have heard good comments. I've heard bad comments. I haven't tried it. I don't know whether it's good or not. One of the things for sure you can do is make sure you have lots of good wool blankets. Make sure that you create what's called a micro environment. Okay, so let's say that in my living room, what I want to do is I want to put in a camping tent, okay, the fully enclosed camping tent. And then that way, when I get ready to go to bed, I'm going to put my sleeping bag, not directly on the ground, but on some sort of an absorbent mattress, air mattress or something like that. then put my sleeping bag on top of that and sleep inside that micro environment. So now as I exhale, okay, you've got a smaller area, and your exhalations basically can warm up the insides of that small tent. So you're not worried about all that being lost, all your body heat and exhalations and everything else being lost into a larger macro environment, like a living room. Instead, they're being discharged into a micro environment in that small tent. And so that's going to preserve an awful lot of your energy and heat if you can just create the micro environment. That's the whole theory behind the old, if you think about it, the canopy beds that they had back in the Middle Ages. They created a tent. Well, even before then, they created a tent in that room. So they had, the blanket on top of the bed, up on top of the canopy. Then they had the screening around the sides, and then, of course, the mattress. So what they were doing is the exact same thing. They were creating a micro environment inside of that large room, and so it was nice and warm inside them. Well, it was warmer, let's put it that way, inside that micro environment. Wool blankets, can't tell you how important they are. Make sure you get good sleeping bags. Make sure you get some good cots and or air mattresses so that you can have those. Gil, I'm going to count on you, buddy. Is there something that I'm forgetting here? Yes. So the Uko candelier is a phenomenal piece of equipment. I don't think the 3-candle candelier, I have 2 of them. I have 2 of the single candles. I think I showed that to you in my, I keep one of the single candles with beeswax next to me on my nightstand in case we lose power. And then the 2 triple, I have a red one and a green one of the Uko 3-candle candeliers. They say that you can warm stuff up. There's kind of like a little hot plate on top of it. I don't know. You might be able to warm up maybe a can of soup, not get it hot, but maybe warm it. That I wouldn't be too much more than that. Thank you, Tuck Buddy. I'll have to check that out. The Oxford says that the candle things are worthless for him. Another thing you can do is the Boy Scout lantern. Remember, you're only going to be burning cardboard and paraffin, so it should be relatively safe inside a home as long as you have good ventilation. But you just take that cardboard, take a tuna can with the side opening opener, and cut the tuna can so that you can put the lid back on it to keep it, to close it and snuff your flame. But then you're going to take cardboard and you're going to cut it so the corrugation ends up where it's pointing up, and you're going to roll that, stick it inside of that tuna can, and then melt some paraffin and pour the paraffin in so that becomes your candle wax. The entire rolled up cardboard becomes your wick, and you can get a humongous wick, let me tell you. And so that can put out quite a bit of heat. Just don't put it on something because remember, the can itself is going to get very hot. So you're going to have to put it like on bricks or on a silicone mat or something like that if you want to burn it inside. Don't have it directly on wood or anything like that. Make sure you have good fire safety practices. Get silicone, get some bricks so that you can get some coolness. You're not transferring all that heat onto anything, any of your furniture or anything like that. Also keep out of the hands of children. Let me see what else. They talk about pellet stoves, wood stoves. I think in all reality for me, I don't know about for you, but trying to backdate this modern home to adapt to a wood stove is going to be extremely costly. Might be able to get one in the backyard, maybe jury rig the back porch but then how much in Texas has so much wind, it's pitiful. So how much of that heat that I'm gaining from the wood stove am I going to lose from the effects of the wind? I don't know. It's a good question we'd have to ask. Okay, last topic is lighting. So I try to get as much candles as possible. You'll see that every once in a while you'll see me pick up either wood wicks or regular beeswax or paraffin wicks, paraffin soaked wicks. My goal is, and you'll also see me do jars. My goal is I have all kinds of wicks, and people will burn their candles down to the nubs, and then I'll take that candle what's left of the wax. And I've got all different colors and all different odors. They're going to be mixed together into one pot and poured to make new candles. So I'm just going to be making new candles, reusing old candles and stuff like that. I probably have the entire bottom of our bathroom pantry is nothing but candles. I used to go to, and I mean, one stack is probably, let me get my spreadsheet here and I can tell you exactly what I have. So as far as being prepared for fuel and light, there we go. Okay, so 2.5 pillar, I have 7 2.5-inch pillar candles. I have 32 boxes of 8 candles per box of 6-inch beeswax. I have a 24-inch, 8-inch beeswax pillar. I have 54 boxes of the 5 candles, emergency candles you used to get for $1 at the dollar store. I have 16 115-hour candles. I have you can go to the dollar store and you can get these prayer candles, okay? And so I used to buy those. They were only $1.25. So I have 24 of those. I have 24 scented votive candles. I have 1 survival 3-wick that I got from Emergency Essentials. Over 300 tea light candles. I have 49 boxes of the Uco paraffins. I have 9 boxes of Uco beeswax 12-hour candles. And then I have 20 boxes of the Uco 9-hour citronella candles. So that's kind of where I am as far as, lighting, not counting the fact that you can get USB rechargeable flashlights. And so that's what I'm primarily doing. I'm replacing all of my Nebo's flashlights with O-lights, and those are all USB rechargeables. So, and then if you do want to go with something like a Nebo and use a AA or a AAA, just make sure you have a solar system as well as a charging station where you can charge those batteries and rechargeable batteries. And that's going to last you a fairly long time. You can also, I took it out of here. I used to have up here, and right now, after last night, the security guy came in today and installed our new security system. We upgraded our entire home security system today. So he had to come here, and right here is where I keep all my Bibles and what I'm studying and everything else. And then he went and they put a motion detector right there. So I had to move all that stuff. So I cleaned all this out in my office, put everything away. The only thing I brought back so far is my carbon monoxide detector. But, you saw me reach up there last night for my Geiger counter that I normally keep there. I also normally keep my 20-band radio there, HF radio. But what's great about it is it has a solar charger on top, so I can stick it outside and solar charge my radio. It also has a hang crank. And with that hang crank, theoretically, it can charge a cell phone or something like that, or an O-light or any kind of USB thing. What I have really found is, man, you have to crank like a Dickens to get it to charge anything. So I would get, if you're going to get a hand crank portable radio, one of those all-in-ones where you're going to use the hand crank, get a larger one so it's a lot more convenient to use the hand crank. That's my suggestion. Don't go with a little one like I did. Okay, let's see where we are, and then we're going to call it quits and see if there's anything that you all have added that. Gosh, quilted coveralls. Yeah, and another thing, Billy, Frontier Prepper, put out a video yesterday, and he was talking about make sure you get plenty of hand warmers. And I did not know that they made these, but he was talking about toe warmers. Of course, he lives in Alaska, so they might get all kinds of different things there than we get here. And he was also talking about lap warmers. And evidently this lap warmer is like a 8 or 10-inch square that once you get it, you can put it in your lap or on your belly or something like that, and that becomes a warmer. Oh, another thing you can do is, and I bought some galvanized steel buckets out in the backyard. So one of the things you can do is after you're finished cooking, put your bucket on your grill with your charcoal and then fill it full of river rocks. Okay. So you're going to warm up those river rocks. And then you bring those river rocks in, you can set them on the door to your oven, and that provides radiant heat. Or what they used to do, and back in the olden days too, is they had these special steam pots, pans, whatever. But they would basically put water in it and put that on there, and then before they went to bed, they would warm their bed with a steam pot or pan, and just leave it in there and move it around and warm up the bed. So when you got into your bed, it wasn't freezing. That's another thing you can do. You can also put those rocks underneath your bed and keep it warm if you have your bed up high. Let me see. Anything else that I have left out? I have a box of candle wax I need to turn into candles. Yes. Yeah, in the Army, they told us that the three things that were most important to keep warm, because that's where your body can lose the vast majority of its body weight, are your head, your hands, and your feet. So absolutely. Yeah, those are the three places you want to keep warm. I have heard that crayons can be used as candles, as a substitute candle. Great information. So Kenan says same thing. Put the hand or body warmers in your bed to warm up your bed before you go get in it. Hand crank radio plus treadle sewing machine. Yeah, let's try that. That's a great idea. My maternal grandma had a real old school charcoal bed warmer. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, isn't that great, Holly? Isn't that great that we have such a great crowd and everybody has such great ideas and sharing them? It's just phenomenal. I look at it as being a facilitator. I'm just facilitating, leading the discussion so that you all can provide all the important stuff that fills in the cracks. Yeah. Let me see. So Helen just found what was that channel? 929.
Yeah.
Helen just found the channel we're leaving the TV on when we go to bed. 929 on our cable, and it's 70s music. So we go to sleep listening to 70s rock music on the television. We won't have that in a post-apocalyptic world, by the way. Let me see. I moved my Bibles, so I don't have my Bibles, so I can read number 624 to you. But let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. I think I have it memorized. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord look upon you kindly. And no, I don't have it memorized. We will just do this. Number 6. Verse 24. There we go. Okay. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and grant you peace. So thank you. What a great discussion. Thank you all so much. I am so happy to have such wonderful people who have such great ideas and share them and help us to move all of us forward. We're all, when they say that when the tide rises, all ships rise with it. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're providing that rising tide of water, that rising tide of knowledge. You do it respectfully and with each other. Gosh, what a great community. Thank you so much for helping me maintain such a wonderful community full of knowledge, full of friendship, and full of love. So remember that we're all in this together so we can come out the other side together. Please continue to be kind, polite, and respectful to each other. You know what? I just have this strange feeling. After having met Rebecca in person, after having met Sumi in person, I'm going to make an assumption, and I'm going to bet that this assumption is true. And I bet that every one of you blinks your lights and lets that guy come in front of you who's been waiting to get into traffic for a while. that you're one of those kind people who looks out for other people. I have a feeling when you go out shopping and people look at you, they smile back at you because you're smiling. I have a feeling that you're the one that when you reach past somebody, you say, "Excuse me," and they look at you in shock because nobody has done that in quite a while. I have a feeling that you're the one who, with your eyes and with your mouth, but not your voice, tell people, "I love you," when you see them in public. And you're going to be part of that rebuild that's going to make this entire world a whole lot better place. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the group. Remember that we're all in this together so that collectively we can get through this together. Take care, everybody. I will see you next Monday. I hope to get a couple of videos out. Tomorrow we're going on a tour of the painted churches, so there won't be a short tomorrow unless I do it this evening. But anyhow, next video, next short should probably be Thursday. Take care, everybody. Please stay safe. Bye-bye.